Hello everyone, welcome to chapter 98 on my RLDR Custom Creations YouTube channel. It is the weekend edition again, and actually the last weekend edition before Christmas. And in today's chapter, I have a question for you. Is my table saw area nice enough to be on YouTube? To learn the answer to that, you know what to do. All you've got to do is stay tuned. So, is my table saw area, and without saying my shop in general, organized enough and clean enough to be on YouTube? Well, that's something I'm battling with, I have to admit. This shop is very busy. I have a couple groups of 5 students through here through fall and into spring as well. We'll start in February again. Uh, Maybe a lot of the YouTube shops I see are maybe similarly equipped, but I haven't seen any of them with multiples of equipment. So this shop has 2 table saws, has, okay, 10 lathes, that's ridiculous. 4 scroll saws, 2 band saws, I think I said that already. There are multiples of things in here that are very necessary for when I'm teaching classes. And I'm not organized to the point where basically any flat surface gets stuff piled on it. If I'd rotate my camera 90 degrees, you'd see my work table, which is not clean today because this is empty. So in the last episode or last chapter, we cleaned that table saw top. I'm going to get back to that today, and we're going to do a little bit more cleaning and show you, and maybe by the end of this video, we'll have till here suitable to show on YouTube. So anyway, what I'm going to do is, I think I did some of this in a video quite a while ago. It was called Table Saw Acres or something like that. Something I'm trying to be catchy and, to boost my subscribership. Anyway, that's another story we're going to talk about this year yet. So I showed you some of it, but today I'm going to take the camera and put it on my handheld stand here, and we're going to go mobile, and I'm going to show you the plan that I have for this area. So you better understand when I shoot video on this and things like that, what I am doing. So give me a minute, we'll make you mobile, okay? Okay, well, this is about where you were on the stand. You'll notice windows in here, which are wonderful for natural light during the day, but really, really annoying when I'm shooting YouTube video. So I have already purchased blinds for them, and I just haven't put them up yet. So many things I've done that I haven't really done. So let's start at this saw here, my little contractor saw. This saw has sentimental value to me because, like I said in the other video, it is the first tool, the major tool that I ever bought. So the core of the saw remains from its Rockwell Beaver days, but I have made numerous changes to it. First of all, the switch has changed. I had this saw at school for a while, so I put a mag start on it. And I still need to rig up some dust collection for here, so that's another issue that I need to do yet. Those cords running down here are to the motor and eventually to the 220 plug in the wall. This saw did not come with a motor, and my original motor I took off 2 years ago, just before I retired. It wasn't a TEFC motor, totally enclosed fan cooled, and those are required in wood shops. And the last thing I want to do is burn my shop to the ground, so I switched it out. Princess Auto puts TEFCs on sale regularly. So the fence, this is a general fence that I bought on Kijiji and adapted it to fit this saw. And this is a really, really good upgrade to that saw. The only problem with this saw, or with this fence, and that's something that is going to change yet, you see that little mark there? That's where I'm going to cut that fence. I'm going to shorten it. It works this way, but it doesn't need to be that long. It's heavier to move and all that stuff. So that is going to change. And let's see. Okay, heading down to, there's a table-mounted router here. There it is underneath. And I kept my Princess Auto routers because I have them and they work. So I'm going to keep them. But there is going to be a switch that's going to go right about here or right about here. I haven't decided where yet. Probably here, actually. That the router will plug into, and then there'll be a switch on it. Very similar to a small lathe switch, and I have all the stuff already. I just need to do it. So, okay, let's move on to the area in between, which I laminated out of scrap pieces of pine and covered with epoxy. What I have to do on here yet is a couple of these grooves aren't quite deep enough to allow the miter gauge to pass through nicely. So I need to clean that up. A little bit of fine tuning. But this area here I'm quite happy with. And having the table saws back to back means that I can have outfeed area where the other table saw is. And that works out really good. The problem is, and here I've got a router bit that's in the way. So this router, the bit has to be below the surface to use this, but it works. I'm quite happy with it. Okay, this table saw, this is my my Unisaw. And I've really liked it. It's a 5-horse motor, so that's one of the reasons I bought it. I think it had a relatively hard life before I bought it. But I replaced the melamine side there, and I'm about to do some more work in that yet, but we'll talk about that a wee bit later. There's one modification I want to make on this Unisaw. And see that switch over there? It should be here. And I'm going to move it. So that means moving this cord, probably drilling a hole here someplace and bringing it through, covering that hole, touching it up with paint or whatever, and to bring it over here to make it so that it's much more convenient. And all table saws, all modern table saws have their switches here, and mine is going to do that as well. Dust collection is going to go underneath that shelf because that's where the port is on this saw. So when I put that shelf in, I made sure there was room to put a boot on there, and that's going to come under the saw and go up kind of in line with that white H and Husqvarna on my little tractor. Okay, moving along. This is where it starts to get weird. And you saw this in another video that I did. Something about framing a teacher or something like that. I put this router plate in, and that's not the strange part. The strange part is the fence is going to run directly into that other fence. Well, yeah, that's a compromise. It definitely is. But I don't want anything on the floor. And so there's going to be dust collection pipes coming down here. And this way, I can stand here. Oops, sorry, I'm giving you a bad view. I can stand in front of the saw. I can push things through. I don't have to worry about getting in the way of dust collection or having something on the floor. This is just a cheap plate. But one of the things I need to look into, and I think it would probably be possible, is to make that plunge router so I can use the internals of the router to raise it and lower it, okay? I'm not sure if you know quite what I mean by that, but that will be a future video if I figure that out. So this is my extra unifence. It's got a little bit of damage on it, which I'm going to weld up and resurface. And then I think I'm also going to shorten this fence because I don't think I need it that long. And then we'll have another router table here that I can use. So, okay, well, let's, with my lawn tractor in here, it's just a little bit awkward getting around in here. Oh, by the way, that router will get a switch just like that one. Okay, coming around the left side if I'm facing everything. So there's going to be dust collection pipe coming down here, kind of just in front of the light. So just on that side, that side of the light, I'll come down, and then we'll run the 2 table saws off of that. Now, in case you're wondering, this structure here is an Excalibur overarm guard. And it should, with its post, mount on that side of the table saw. It's not going to. I'm going to shorten everything, mount it to a piece of plywood, attach it to the base of the saw because I don't want to drill into the floor, and we're going to put a short piece of pipe on here, and we're going to have a blade guard over my dado head because I think guards are important. If you really want some excellent table saw content, Stumpy Nub's channel, James Hamilton, does a wonderful article on table saw safety and saw stop and all that. It's one of his latest videos, so go check that out. But guards are very important, and I intend to guard this dado head setup. So anyway, that's going to go on, and this router is going to get a plug in here. This is a handy tool, this horizontally mounted router, and it's going to, remember when I was on the other side of the saw, I talked about using the router itself as a lift. Well, I would think that if I got in the top here somehow and attached somehow to this mechanism, that maybe I can do that internally and then drill a hole in that plate and use a long Allen key or something to raise and lower the router. That would really be handy for that router as well. So I've got some fitting to do yet. That fence isn't fit anywhere, right? That's just temporary. That fence needs to be mounted on, and that might be one of my next projects because that would get the fence off the floor and out of the way, which would be wonderful. But that needs to be done. The plate for the router is in. A little bit of cleanup of the grooves is kind of the construction that I need to do. Then, after that, we need to run dust collection here. And there's going to be a run. See that just after my air cleaner there, the port comes off. That one's going to come here and come down. And then I've got some electrical, some switches to do for the routers, and then a switch to move for my Delta Unisaw. So that's what I'm going to be working on. Oh, and that T-track needs to go in as well. So that's my table saw dilemma as it is. Is it clean enough and fancy enough to be on YouTube? I don't know, but the one thing I am proud of what I do is this is a working shop. It's not a studio. It's a working shop. So hopefully the people that watch my videos will appreciate that and not pass too much judgment. But anyway, I'm going to do a little bit of cleaning and show you a couple things when I get back after I finished doing a couple things. Well, what do you think? Is this clean enough for YouTube? Yes, I do believe it is. It's later in the evening now. I had supper, came back out, had a few little things to do. I did most of this off camera other than the cleaning because, I mean, putting on Glide Coat, it's not hard. Just, here it is. just follow the directions. It's easy to apply. I have a car buffer, and I tried to buff first coat with that, and I wasn't really pleased with it. To me, it doesn't run fast enough. But and I did the set when I put the second coat on. I tried to buff with it, but then the dirt from the first coat got into the second coat, and I ended up using quite a bit of elbow grease to get it nice and clean. That was on that little router table part there that happened, but it's good now. It's a little bit of dust on everything here, but like I said, glide coat, it's pretty expensive now. I'm not sure if I will use this because I used half a can today, but the surface feels really nice. So, you know, that's what happens. So other little notes here. Yeah, the cast iron and the steel kind of went as I expected. I don't think this saw has been this clean since I bought it. Like I said, it moved around a bit, not always stored in the best conditions, and that just wasn't great. What I also did is I also washed everything else. Like this fence rail had debris on it from me and from the previous owner, so I got rid of most of that. I didn't do a whole lot of cleaning. I did what I could, scraped a bit, but it's still not perfect, but it's good enough. The last thing that needed to have some attention done to it was the melamine piece between the table saw cast and the router table steel. And that was kind of beat up. So what I did is I took and scraped it with a razor blade, got all the glue, got everything off of it, and then I noticed there were two holes in it, two divots from impact. So I got out the auto body filler and I think I put it away. I like using auto body filler for stuff like that because it's tough and it's pink. Well, this was blue because I had blue hardener, but I put a coat of melamine paint on it after it was done. So I took a brush and just got enough paint on it. And then, like, melamine kind of has the texture of a roller. So I rolled it all out, and it looks really good. I'm really impressed with it. Once I had everything kind of scraped off, I sanded the whole thing really well with 180. Tried to get all the loose stuff off that I could, and I think I did a pretty good job. Filled the two holes. I couldn't find those things now if I had to. And this is still drying, so I might put another coat of this paint on tomorrow, and we'll see. But I think as far as that goes, oh yeah, I scraped and washed the arborite on there. And I didn't really do anything to the strip between. It still looks pretty good. I noticed there's some drips of glue and stuff on it, so that needs to be scraped with a razor blade, and then I'll maybe polish it a little bit or whatever. But that looks pretty good. But the other thing that needs to be done is some of these holes. I had them deep enough when I made it, but then when I epoxied it, there'd be, you know, a 1/16 of an inch of epoxy on the bottom, and then things didn't work anymore. So I'm going to deal with that next. Well, maybe that next, or what maybe next is the fence to that router table. That might be the next thing that I do. So yeah, I think I'm pleased with this. I got a little bit of white paint on there. I'll get that off after. I'm really pleased with this. Like I said, this saw hasn't looked this good since I bought it. It works well. Now it looks good, and we're going to get that other side looking exactly the same as this, and it's going to be wonderful. So with that in mind, that brings this video to a close. You can do this to your table saw as well. It really didn't take me that long to do. How much time would I have into it? Well, with shooting video and everything, I think the rust, probably a couple hours if I worked at it steady. With painting and everything, maybe a little bit longer, setting up the camera, all that stuff. It just adds a little bit to the time. But for the time I put into it, this is well worth it. Now, how to maintain it? Well, Glide Coat says you're supposed to put a coat on weekly. I know that I probably won't do that. But I think first of all, I need to make it so that I'm not putting wet wood on here. That's what caused these two long strips last time. And I think I need to cover it when students are working on it. And I haven't quite figured that out yet. I'd like to be able to leave the fences on, but then I'd need to have really thin wood over top of it. Or maybe a type of paper that I can pull out on a roll, cover it, and then when they're done, rip it off, throw it away, and we have a clean one for the next time. That's something I need to sort out yet, because we will definitely be having more students. It will start up in February again. And with the amount of room I have in here, please don't look at that table, it's a disaster now. But eventually I have to have it so that both of these surfaces stay completely clean. And I think that's possible, but it's going to take me some more organizing, some more building, some more stuff needs to get used up here. So that fence needs to go on, the guard for this blade needs to go on, and then they're not lying on the floor, and my dust collection needs to go up because then that's not on the floor. And you see how it works. I just need to keep going. That's all there's to it. So with that in mind, yeah, we're close to Christmas. This was usually the stage I was making those panicked last-minute Christmas presents. I haven't done that for a few years, but now that I'm home again, and I was watching some turning on YouTube, man, it looks like fun to get back into that. And some guitar buildings coming up in the new year. So lots to look forward to. And hopefully you're willing to join me for that. So please like and subscribe. Thank you for watching if you are. And I'm not sure if I probably will get a short video out before Christmas yet. But if I all of a sudden don't, have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Okay, take care. We'll see you on the next video.